Nigga fan 007. What up? You good? I'm alive, I'm breathing. Drop this shit. What up, nigga? Drop this shit. What up, nigga? Fucking head, man.
Hey, we got the guest caller. We got Kid Twist on the line.
All right.
Kid Twist, where have you been, bro?
In Toronto, strangely enough. I just been living life, man. I've been living life.
Okay. Do you miss Battlerap? I see you on Blackout. Just got announced, a legend.
Yeah, man.
How do you feel? You nervous? What's going on?
I feel great about it, to be honest with you. I feel like I have way more confidence coming back now than I had before. Like, I just think the scene's at a place right now where it's really about the performance. It's about the lyrics, and I think people are kind of hungry a little bit for the type of material that I'm known for. So I think it's a great time for me to come back. It's the right event. Obviously, it's a huge event. It's my home team, which is perfect. I always love to show support to those guys, whether I'm battling or not. So, yeah, it's perfect, man. I'm excited about it.
Nice. I mean, it's weird. I mean, it's been how many years? I mean, what's your resume? Run it down. I've been watching you since Jack shit when King of the Dot first started. But for those who don't know,
yeah, that was a long time ago. Yeah,
athlete, man. For those who don't know, what can they expect? I mean,
well, so the last time I came back was in 2012. If you've seen those battles, I took a bit of a different approach in those. But what I've been known for, what I made my name on, is being the original funny white nerd. So I'm proud to say that I kind of invented that lane of battle rap. I don't think it's too much of a stretch for me to claim that. So yeah, I'm the original guy that everyone would accuse of just being a stand-up comedian and not a rapper. So basically a stand-up comedian who talks in rhyme, if you want to put it that way.
Well, you versus Dumbfounded was so crazy.
Yeah, you know what's nuts about that is the first international matchup that ever happened in King of the Dot. So if you think about what the King of the Dot cards are like these days when they throw a big event in Toronto, that was the first non-Canadian rapper who ever came up was Dumbfounded, and I battled him in Toronto. That was the first international match.
Okay. Are you considered a legend in battle rap in your opinion? Or at least
in my opinion, for Canada, yeah, for sure. For battle rap as a whole, I guess that's hard to say. We might have to wait a little while longer to see how it all shakes out in the history books. But I think definitely for Canada, I mean, it's a weird thing to claim yourself that you're a legend, but certainly people who hit me up on Facebook, people I even just see around in Toronto who come up to me on the subway or whatever, the word legend gets thrown around a lot. So I guess if people are saying that, then I have to say it myself.
Okay. So you and Pat stay. Is that ever going to happen, you think?
Me and Pat stay? I don't know, man. That was one that was thrown around a lot back in the day. I think certainly as long as he has the title, it doesn't make sense. Like, I'm not really trying to come back for the title at all right now. That's not a goal of mine.
Come on.
You know what, man? I feel like the title needs to keep moving to new hands. Like, Sharon is the guy that everyone wants to see get the matchup right now. I'd like to see that myself as well. I think it's his turn. But the role that I see for myself in King of the Dot going forward is being the veteran who can come and take an interesting matchup and add a new dimension to the event, not necessarily the guy who's in the thick of things all the time trying to compete for the big honors, compete for the title and that sort of thing. I think those days are kind of behind me. But in a way that's great. Like I know Pat has talked a lot about how he doesn't really want the title. It seems like every title match he has some bars about that and how he has to take certain matchups because of the title, because every match he does in King of the Dot is going to be a title match. So I think I'm actually in a much better position right now where I can take matches that would definitely not be on my plate if I was trying to go for the title.
Okay. I know, Twist, I know in your 100 Bullets battle, it was like 5 blacks would take all. Do you think more battlers should do that, or is that something that's too risky with the money dudes are making nowadays?
Well, first of all, I don't know where you heard that, because that was definitely not the case. But that used to happen, like back in the early days of King of the Dot. I did have some battles like that. Like my battle with Big Mac was like that. My battle with Holohan was like that, where we both put in money and then the winner walked away with it. So it's kind of like both guys agree beforehand what the amount is going to be, and then it's the MCs putting up the money rather than getting paid by the league. So I think that on the one hand, that definitely adds a really interesting dimension to the battle, and it means that there's some serious competition going on. But there are a lot of problems with it as well. Like, you just wouldn't get guys taking as many matchups if they had to risk the money every time. And also, judging is so subjective, especially when it gets to the level that the top tier guys are on now. It's really hard to make that call. Like, are you going to let a panel of 5 pretty random dudes just make the decision about what's happening with your money? So it's a really cool idea, but I don't know if it's necessarily feasible, at least not right now.
Okay. Hey, Kid Twist, how do you feel about Antics now in Battle Rap?
The daylight question. I mean, I can see both sides of it. I think that there are ways to do it effectively. I would say maybe there's a time and a place for it. Certainly, it brings a new element to battles, and I think it has kind of started being a thing to do at a time when maybe the scene needed something like that. Because apart from the Antics, and Daylight is kind of the perfect example. If you look at his battles where he doesn't do Antics, the tone tends to be so serious, and that's something that is really prevalent in battling right now, is these ultra serious battles, these ultra serious characters. So I think Antics can be a good thing to get, to remind people that what we do is fucking absurd and we don't need to take it so seriously all the time. But like I said, there is a time and a place for it. Like, you kind of have to be aware of what the match is, and if that's a match where Antics are expected and where they're going to add something interesting, then I think definitely you can do it really creatively. But you have to be really aware of what the crowd wants to see, and if they just do not want to see Antics in that matchup, obviously they're really going to turn on you. But for the Daylight example specifically, obviously he knows that, and he plays that aspect to his advantage as well. So I think he's kind of the odd guy out. He can get away with almost anything at this point. If there's anyone who's trying to follow in his footsteps, I would say just be very aware of what the match is, what the atmosphere is, what the event is, and how that's going to come across.
Okay. Hey, Kid Twist, what battles are you actually watching currently?
What battles am I watching? I try to watch all the major ones that have come out. Like I get behind is the thing. I don't have as much time to be as hardcore of a fan as I was back in the day. So watch most of the Ether battles now. Still catching up a little bit. Obviously, I saw Cassidy versus Disaster. I can't miss out on something that major. So I'm not as much of a niche fan, I guess you could say, as I was when I first got into it. But when I was first coming up, like, you could watch every single battle video that came out. Like, we were hungry for videos. Every time a battle dropped, it was a big deal. Now it's like there's so much. You could spend your whole life watching battles and still not get through everything. So, I guess I'm kind of watching the same things everyone else does, the same big names. If there's any smaller name battlers who I might be into, anyone who's listening, hit me up on Facebook, send me some links or whatever. I found some interesting battles that way too. So, I'm always down to watch something creative, watch someone who's bringing something new to the scene.
Question, and I want to be honest with you here. Now, a lot of URL battlers are going to King of the Dot. I want to know, does King of the Dot have their own battlers that can really, so we can have a URL versus King of the Dot card down the line or something like that. Like, you think that'll happen?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't think it will happen. I know it's an idea that a lot of people throw around, but I think that especially in this current era of battle rap, there's not really, like, battlers aren't really associated with a league like that. I mean, people, the fans especially, like to divide people up into categories. So it's like, oh, this is a URL guy, this is a King of the Dot guy. And that may be where they came up. But I think with those leagues in particular, and really with any league, they're not looking to just have their little pool of talent. They're trying to bring in the guys who are going to be advantageous for them as a league in terms of getting people out to events, in terms of getting views. So it's really, I think of it less like leagues having their own rosters and more like these leagues are just different venues where battlers can come and use that as a platform. And, you know, there may be different audiences, different expectations for the different platforms, but it's more about the platform and less about the league as a roster of artists. That's how I look at it.
Okay. It must be different now, you think, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's really different.
And after being off all this time from battle rap, do you have a new approach to it? Do you just go back into it like, you know, this is what got me here, I do what I do, and it should all work out?
Well, you know, my opponent may be listening. I don't want to give away too much, but to speak in very general terms, when I came back in 2012, you know, I was really into where the scene was at that time, and it was going in a more aggressive direction, a direction that was more oriented towards a rawer type of lyricism, and I wanted to see what I could do to integrate that into my own battling. And I think I kind of failed at that in some regards. Like, those battles didn't, I mean, I had some good shit, but I don't think that I did 4 battles in 2012, and I don't think that they really came off the way that I wanted them to. So after having some time away now and reflecting on that, I just really want to get back into what I am known for and what comes naturally to me, but at the same time update that so that it feels like Kid Twist, but it feels like Kid Twist in 2015, not in 2009. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Gotcha.
What was the thing, Wayne?
So, Kid Twist, is this going to be your initial, this is Wing, by the way, I'm sorry. Is this going to be your, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was asking, so is Blackout going to be your initial comeback? Is that what we can expect?
Yeah, I mean, the way I'm seeing it, like, you know, I've got a lot of things going on outside of battling now, but I want to try and keep that ball in the air. So I might not be doing matchups every month or even every few months, but certainly I would never say that I'm retired. What I'm looking to do is take matches that make sense to me, be really strategic about it, not strategic in terms of competing, but just in terms of giving people the most entertainment value possible. So, yeah, I would say that this is my comeback, and I'll be doing battles again in the future after that. But, you know, I won't be at every event or that kind of thing. I'll be doing matches that make sense at a time that it makes sense. That's what I would say.
Okay. And are there any up-and-coming battles that you may want to mention after Blackout?
I don't have anything locked in after Blackout, to be honest with you, but I think it'll be really interesting to see how Blackout goes and see what the response is, and then consider my next moves from there. So that's kind of where my head's at. I'm just 100% focused on Blackout right now because I want to come back with as good a performance as possible. That is my goal.
Absolutely. And right now, and going into 2015, like you said, it's so many battlers coming out right now. Do you have a top 5, or are there any like people that stand out for you right now?
That's a big question. I don't know if I would want to pick a top 5. Something that people have asked me about in the past that I've given some thought to is who has come out since I left who's really impressed me. So I would say out of the new people, I mean, I have to mention Big K. I think he's really, like, in the time I've been away, he has made, like, a meteoric rise through the ranks, which has been incredible to watch as a fan. So I would certainly put him up there. I think, you know, being who I am, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Shuffle T and Marlowe from the UK. They're obviously bringing a whole new angle on things in the UK that I can certainly appreciate with where I'm coming from. So I would say those would be kind of the main new guys who have come out in the time since I've been away. And apart from that, I mean, it's really I really stick by my favorites. I mean, Pat Stay, I've always been a huge fan of his. I love every battle that he puts out. And it's great to see the growth that Sharon has been showing, you know, over the past little bit. So that's been really cool to watch as a King of the Dot fan.
I mean, who else is there really over in King of the Dot, though? Like, who else?
Who else? Like, if you mean from Canada?
Yes.
Well, man, you have to remember Canada has fewer people than California, right? So
wow.
Per capita, we're doing all right on battle rappers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you. Like, I like Bender. Bender's nice.
Yeah, man. I wish Bender would battle more. I was always a huge fan of his.
Yeah.
And a huge fan of Pesci's as well. You know, he's had his ups and downs career-wise, but you can never say he's not nice lyrically.
If opportunity presented itself, would you battle in another league?
Yeah, man, absolutely. I mean, clearly I have a lot of loyalty to King of the Dot, and it's in my hometown, so it makes a lot of sense for me to battle there as my main venue. But if there was something that made sense, then absolutely. I mean, I think for myself, for what I do, I'd be really interested in maybe going to Don't Flop. I think that's a venue where I do really well. And you know, I battled in California before and was really well received out there. So that's and King of the Dot has the division out there, so I'm sure that might be something that I think about in the future. But yeah, like I said, just trying to take things one step at a time. So we'll see what happens after Blackout.
That's what it is. Man, hey, man, I hope everything works out, that's for sure. Everybody been waiting for you to come again.
I hope a lot of people have been waiting.
Hey, Disaster. Your thoughts of Disaster? I see Disaster's name. What comes to your mind?
Disaster? I love Disaster, man. He's crazy. That guy, like, I love him as a battler. I've been a huge fan of his as long as he's been out. And he's just, I mean, you guys have probably had the opportunity to talk to him. He's a great person. He's like exactly who you would think he is as a battler, except nice. So it's always a pleasure talking to him at events and stuff. Good battler, good guy.
That's what it is, man. Hey, I'm just wondering who your opponent's gonna be for Blackout. Like, what if you get somebody like Rex or Hit? If you got Rex or Hit,
maybe, man. It could be something totally out of left field.
Yeah, Shotty Paula, it's just so quick. I mean, how do you prepare for something like that? Or do you actually know behind the scenes?
Oh, yeah, we all know. We all know who our opponents are. So the crazy thing is they're taking – so, I mean, I know who I'm battling.
Okay.
But other than that,
we don't know.
We're being kept in the dark about the rest of the card. So I don't know who anyone else is battling. I don't have the total inside scoop on the event, but I do know my own opponent. So it's like, it's like a normal battle in that sense. We're writing for each other, but it's the totality of the card that's the mystery.
Got you. Okay. So you do know who you know who you're gonna battle, and that's it.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I think it's hard. It got to be hard to prepare for. You know who the hell it is.
Yeah, well, that would be like the WRC days or the pre-WRC days, the days when people would come up with lines ahead of time, but you couldn't really let on you were coming up with lines ahead of time, and they had to be sort of generic enough to apply, and you had to slip them into a freestyle, Yeah. I'm used to that too. That's how I came up, though. So.
Hey, Twitch, who won? Dizzy Cass, in your opinion?
Oh man, I mean, the first time I watched it, I thought Disaster won. Second time I watched it, I thought Cassidy won. So I guess I'll have to watch it a third time to break the tie.
Okay.
But it was a close battle, man. And I mean, I think a lot of people have spoken at length about just the coolness of the vibe that they ended up doing it in the parking garage, and that there were only a few people there and that kind of thing. So yeah, I think the vibe of the battle more so than the outcome is what's going to be influential going forward.
Right.
I definitely feel that. Well, hey, Chris Wisman, we appreciate you coming on. I'm gonna get you back on here soon.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Definitely, man. Big fan of yours for a very long time now, bro.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
That's it, man. Good night, bro.
All right, peace.
Hello.
Good night.
Nigga fan 007. What up? You good? I'm alive, I'm breathing. Shot this shit. What up, nigga? Shot this shit. What up, nigga? Fucking heads, man.